room, asked about potential taper tantrums down the road. Hey, Steve.
Morning. Good afternoon, Carl. I can agree with what Karen said, that the Fed is definitely in a dovish mode. I think one way to think about it is if it was sitting in a room, it'd be a lot closer to the cut button. It'd have to kind of get up and walk across the hall and open a door and go into another office where the hike button is. It's a little bit far. It's much further from that. And it was interesting what Powell did say that he saw some of the trade tensions or uncertainties easing. But he said they still exist and they're still around, and he's kind of, reserving decision as to whether or not there's going to be a business investment rebound because of the trade deals that have been announced and signed. But he said, hey, there's a new one, which is the coronavirus. I don't know if we have that sound there, but he did talk about that quite a bit, where he said, hey, it's something we have to watch. Didn't want to get ahead, I think, of other authorities when it came to it, Carl. But ultimately, he said that's another thing we're going to be watching. And the statement itself said global developments were something the Federal Reserve had concerns about. In addition, there was this downgrade to household spending that not a big deal. They said it had been strong, and the consumer has been strong. Now they see it growing at a moderate pace, and that's something worth watching. So again, the risks when you listen to Chair Powell and when you read the statement look to be much more to the downside than do to the upside.
Steve, on the balance sheet question, repo, I think, was the word. Someone should go back and count how many repo questions there were, which is crazy if you think about it. But what did we learn about balance sheet expansion and what the Fed's plans are?
Well, they're going to continue at least through May. There is some discussion, agreement to reduce that balance sheet expansion over time. We didn't exactly get a number. We got some indication of where the Federal Reserve is heading, and he didn't really bite on my question about whether or not he thinks it's essentially juicing the stock market. He said a lot of things affect the stock market. QE is not our intention, even though it's a very large balance sheet purchase, he said. And so he's going to leave it at that. And I asked him, as Carl said, about the possibility of a taper tantrum. And I know some members of the Federal Reserve are concerned about that, but that does not seem to be a concern right now of the Federal Reserve Chairman.